Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to My Hometown. I'm Bill Horan, and today we're shining the spotlight on a unique local business that creates a better diet for man's best friends. Our guests today are Robert and Anya Tucker, founders of the K-9 shop with locations in Massapequa and Bohemia. Robert and Anya, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
First, tell us, what is the K-9 shop and how did it get started?
The K-9 shop is a service that provides raw, natural, healthy food for your pets. We started this 3 years ago out of our garage and looking for a better diet for pets to help them become more healthy. And, it's sort of snowballed into a full-time job with 2 locations now, like you said, in Massapequa and Bohemia. And yeah, that's where it's kind of gone from. And, Anya, you can probably fill in a little bit more.
And from what I'm hearing, this may be the McDonald's of fresh food for animals, the raw shop. And the K-9 shop may be, we may see more of those than McDonald's in the future.
Oh, we'd like to see that. We'd like to see that, yeah.
Maybe if there's any stockbrokers listening, they might want to contact you about expanding the business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whose idea was this all of a sudden? I'm always fascinated with that part of it. Did you just wake up one morning and say, let's start a K-9 shop?
We were super determined to feed an appropriate diet to our dogs. We wanted them as healthy as possible. We wanted to have them live as long as possible. And I knew that we knew the food out there just wasn't sufficient and wasn't appropriate for them to be eating. So we started doing lots and lots of research and took lots of classes, and we educated ourselves. And we basically figured out that an appropriate raw diet that's correctly balanced is the only thing that cats, dogs, ferrets should be eating.
And you've really been educating me, so I hope our audience, as we go through the show, will be learning as much as I did about this, because society has changed. In the time we were talking about how it used to be you threw the dog the bone, and that was all well, and how things have changed about that. And you basically say you noticed the lack of quality for canines on Long Island. So what was the first step in waking people up? Because it's nice to open a store, but if nobody knows that they want your product, or if it's something that may be big in Europe but not here, you don't have a very busy day.
Yeah, a lot of people were coming. The raw diet was something that was kind of new about 3 years ago. People were realizing that the kibble industry was really just a fast food for dogs. It was created as a convenience factor for people to grab a scoop, throw it in the bowl, and move on. And more dogs were getting sick. And, that's kind of what was our aha moment, that, dogs are getting sick from this. And we went and found, we did a lot of research. Social media was our best friend on spreading the word. Facebook, Instagram, things like that, getting the word out that we're here. This is a better meal for your dog was really what helped us. And, now that we've got started, it's really just word of mouth. I mean, the word is spreading. There's been some other people that have tried to do it that have done it in the wrong ways. We try and steer on the right way and don't veer off our path at all. And making it, we know where the food is from. We know the farms that it's from. We know where it's sourced from. We know what's in it. We know how it's made. We know where it came from. We know it's USA based. We know it's there's nothing from China, Brazil, or India in the food. Our motto in the store is if we won't feed it to our dogs, we won't sell it.
I was just going to say, best of all, the best living proof is that you have dogs, and this is what you feed to your own
Correct.
pets. So you wouldn't be out there doing it if it wasn't good for them.
Correct.
Now, you used a term which, again, before the show I asked you because I didn't have a clear understanding. When we use the word kibble, what does that mean in the pet food world?
It means it's the dried, processed dog food that can sit in a bag and sits around for quite a long time. And there are many, many issues with kibble. Either it's full of, it all has fillers. So it usually only has 20, 30% meat, which people are shocked about. But everything else is not supposed to be in there. And they are full of grains and or legumes. So you hear the grain-free or the grain. People can't make a choice. Well, neither one is correct or appropriate for a dog to be eating. They're also full of aflatoxins, and if someone doesn't know what that is,
that's me. I don't know what that is.
No, that is a really dangerous mold that you cannot see, and it cannot be killed by heat, and it causes cancer. And that's another reason why so many of these cancer rates in animals are sky high. It's a very, very big problem, and if altogether everyone that comes in, some people come in and they ask, well, how do you know this is the right thing? Well, honestly, ask Mother Nature. Are dogs meant to collect their food, throw in grains, put in rice? Rice isn't even from this continent, so this shouldn't even be a discussion. And, no, they're not supposed to do that. And they're not supposed to have these fillers. They wouldn't get it naturally. They don't have, the ability to build bonfires, cook their food, and eat it. It's just not meant for dogs to eat or cats. And they're not supposed to be eating it. And this is why there are so many getting sick. And the nice thing is when people come into our shop, they come in with all these issues, whether it's a stool issue or allergy issue, bumps. There's a list of EPI issues. What else is there? Kidney issues. The list goes on and on and on. And it makes me so happy when I have these people coming in within between 2 days or 2 months and coming in with all of this wonderful news that their dog is better, they're feeling better, things went away. I have veterinarians calling me asking what's going on here. My patient is doing so well now. I sleep well at night.
And I say supporting you because I'm a dog person, and I've noticed from over the years, from being on Long Island quite a number of years, that growing up, I didn't think dogs had these problems, and now today they're getting a rash, they're itchy, they're not acting well, there's a bump someplace, and my wife sees these things more than I do, and now you're educating me that it may be what they're eating. Now, for our audience, and again for myself, can you define what raw eating is? What does that mean, a raw diet?
Yeah, raw diet is basically, what it says, it's raw meat. Our food comes in many different varieties, from a complete meal where you come in and you can get raw, like chopped meat prepared that's got your organ meat, it's got your muscle meat, your ground bone, and some vegetables all mixed into the roll where you can just slice it up and give it to your dog. We also have other people that are more of the do-it-yourselfers that want to come in and buy all that stuff separate. They'll come in and get some organ meat, they'll come in and get some muscle meat, and they'll put their own vegetables in there. So it's however you want, but the key to this is, one thing you hear me say is, there's no fillers in there, there's no preservatives in there. This is just raw, frozen meat, or raw, frozen organs, or anything like that. This is what the dog should be eating. No preservatives, no fillers, nothing.
And I'm just going to jump in there to say that we do have our food that's already complete. And then we tell people, because there's no such thing as a truly complete. It's as complete as it can possibly get. There are always fresh items that should be thrown in, such as a little bit of some raw egg, whole raw egg.
Local raw honey.
Right, honey. We have a few things that we always tell people to throw in.
I want to be one of these dogs who come to your shop. They're living well.
Yeah.
But for the people that want to make the food themselves and just want, chunks and pieces, we educate them. We don't charge for that. We love sitting down with someone and explaining to them exactly how they can make their own food.
And again, for our audience, the raw eating, like how often would someone come to you? Is this kind of like what we used to think of as the neighborhood butcher shop for people, that they'd come maybe 2 or 3 times a week, come in and get a
absolutely.
steak, pork chop, roast beef, whatever?
Absolutely. We have clients that come in on a weekly, monthly basis. It just depends on their freezer space and their budgetary concerns and everything. But, I usually see the same people in my shop at least once a week, coming in and shopping for their dogs, getting their treats, getting their food. And, it's nice because, it's almost like the butcher shop. You develop a rapport with these people.
Yeah.
It's not only our clients; they're our friends.
I was going to say, when you have the pets as the bonding, it's like tennis players or fishermen or golfers. There's that pet affinity that everybody loves. You want to know, and it's like relatives. Do they go to school? Do they get married? Et cetera, et cetera. So, now you also educated me about something. There's a product that I saw on TV, Fresh something or other for dogs, and that sounded pretty good in terms of what I know, because I know nothing. Right. But you educated me how that can be mistaken for.
There's a lot of products out there that mimic the raw diet, but again, I put those in the platform of you go in to buy your processed foods in the supermarket, like your bolognas and things like that. They're full of preservatives. They're full of fillers. There's a reason why these products are able to sit in a cooler in a pet store for months. That's just not normal. We go to a store and buy a steak. We don't let our steak sit in our refrigerator for a month before we eat it. So there are brands out there that do this, and there's some good brands and there's some bad brands. In our store, you can always be positive that you're coming in and looking at the right stuff, because in our store, if we don't feed it to our dogs, we don't sell it. Plain and simple.
One of my customers gave me the nicest compliment ever. She said, when I come into the K-9 shop, I don't need to turn around and look at the packages or labels, although everyone should, and she should, of course. But she said she feels like she doesn't have to do that because I already do that for her. That's how picky I am about what I carry in my store.
They treat you like the doctor. If the doctor says this, you do that.
Absolutely.
We want to find out more about the K-9 store, but we want our audience to know, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Bill Horan, and today we're talking about raw eating with the founders of the K-9 shop of Massapequa and Bohemia, Robert and Anya Tucker. Now, raw eating is a term most of us, I hadn't really heard it till we began talking about this today. What are some of the myths, both good and bad perhaps, that are out there and maybe people misunderstand when they hear the term raw eating?
Well, again, I think that people just have it embedded into their heads that that their dog should be eating kibble, kibble, kibble. It's just something that they're used to. That's all they've been doing. It's a habit. That's exactly what I think. That's the best way to place it. It's a habit, and so we need to kind of break out of that habit and go backwards to what, again, Mother Nature intended animals to eat, something that's biologically appropriate and healthy.
Are there any negatives that people should know about? I mean, and that doesn't certainly make it bad, but just that people would know about with the raw eating. Mm-hmm. You want to tell our audience?
So I would say, and one of the negatives is that people don't do it correctly, and that is probably one of the reasons why a lot of veterinarians are against raw. They say that they're worried about the dogs not getting enough nutrition and vitamins, minerals, and they're absolutely correct. If it's not done right, just like anything else, just the same way we eat. If it's not balanced appropriately with the right amount of bones and organ meat and muscle meat, then dogs can get sick. Dogs and cats can get sick. So it's important to do it correctly. And if you don't know how to do it correctly, then ask, educate yourself, come in, speak to us. We can help.
And if someone's hearing this today and they say, gee, this sounds good or it might be good for my pet, and you said these are dogs, cats, what else?
Ferrets.
People wind up feeding.
Yeah, a lot of pets. I mean,
really,
yeah.
And they go for the raw. I mean, I guess dog's man's best friend, and the cat is there. You love your cat, but you don't think of the ferret and some of these other animals. But apparently, some of your customers are doing that. Now, the kibble is bad. I think you said because it's dry, it's sitting there, and some products we don't know what's in it. Is that the deal?
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever gone to the pet store and picked up a bag of kibble and just flipped it over and looked at the nutrition panel on the back, you'll see, the nutrition panels are usually done in order of what's mostly found in the food. And, if you see a chicken kibble, 9 times out of 10, chicken won't be the first item listed on that panel. There'll be something else listed there, whether it's a filler like peas or beans or any type of legume or rice. But again, you also go down that panel and you start looking at all these chemicals that are in there. Words that I don't even recognize, can't pronounce, don't know what they mean. Red dye, green dye, yellow dye. These just aren't what dogs should be eating. they color the food to make it look appetizing, and they make it look, beautiful to us. But it's just, I look at it like, not to say anything bad, like a chicken McNugget, a fast food,
Mm-hmm.
I always say that kibble was made, it came out, it really hit its headstorm back in the World War II era, when the men were away fighting and the women were just looking for an easy way to feed their dog. Before that, people were feeding scraps off the table.
That's honestly what I remember. You used to throw the dog bone or a chicken bone. Don't give the dog that today.
Yeah.
But apparently now, this might be funny, but apparently the animals like this too because they're eating real natural food. I would rather a steak than a chicken McNugget.
Absolutely, and again, it's all about the convenience factor. It's made so it's easy for us to go in there and grab that scoop, dump it in a bowl, and go. But this is not what dogs were made to eat. I mean, if you look back in the history of dogs didn't go out in the wild and build a bonfire, cook their food, add some rice to it, add some fillers to it. They went out, hunted the rabbit, hunted the squirrel, and things like that. And dogs are still dogs. They still have the K-9 teeth. They still have everything. They're meant to chew. They're meant to eat. They're meant to eat a biologically appropriate diet.
Yes, they crushed with their teeth. And, again, if you're going to ask yourself what would my dog be eating out there in the wild, it would be catching that rabbit. What does that rabbit contain? It, contains the appropriate amount of organs, the appropriate amount of bones for calcium, the right amount of meat, and the salmon contents, a small amount of vegetation, which is also very nutritious and helpful.
Now, when a new person comes in, how do you recommend they get started on this? Do they just go from the kibbles on Sunday to the raw diet on Monday, or do they phase it in? Does the dog have trouble adjusting? Or and this might sound funny, but does the dog or cat ever go, the usual sniff test? No, I don't like steak. I wanted chicken today, and I'll leave it.
Well, there are those picky dogs out there that are a little hard, but most dogs take to this real well. And the thing with raw feeding is you can switch cold turkey. And the reason you can switch cold turkey, and most people know that when you switch kibble, you're supposed to, do it slowly and gradually take them in. That's because you're taking one set of fillers out and putting another set of fillers in. So you have to let the bad fillers go out of the system before they come in and detox, and it's just it's not good. But with raw, you can just go in cold turkey. And another good thing about raw, what I was going to tell you a second ago, was dental issues. This is a big problem with dogs these days. It's dental issues.
My dog had to have, I think, 11 teeth pulled.
Yes. And that's because they're not, as Anya said just a minute ago, they're not chewing and crushing like they're meant to do. We have dogs come in that have severe tartar issues. And it's from the kibble that they're eating. Now, you come in and they get something with some bones they're chewing. The bones act as a natural toothbrush. Within a few weeks, that tartar is gone. And, there's no more having to put them out to clean their teeth. They're getting a natural toothbrush for their dogs, and they have nice pearly white teeth. I mean, that's just an example of the raw food. Yeah,
it's a big myth out there. I hear this constantly is, well, my dog needs kibble because how else are they going to clean their teeth? When
it's just the opposite.
It's actually like, okay, I'm going to eat a cookie right now, and I'm not going to brush my teeth. That's what kibble is.
And you said, we talk about dogs. I'm a dog person, and I think you are also. But you said the same thing goes for the cats, and I guess the ferrets and whatever other animals.
You just got to adjust their diets a little bit. But this is what we do. You come into us. Any new client that comes in, we put together a whole meal plan for you.
Yes, cats are true carnivores. They actually don't need any vegetation in their diets. But dogs are a little bit different. They need a very small amount, but they definitely should be getting a little bit.
Now, are there any immediate reactions that pet owners are going to see once they feed them? If I have a couple of cookies, I'm running around like crazy, and then I peter out and I fall asleep on the couch. So is there any reactions that you get from the pet other than liking the raw diet?
The really nice thing, everyone's favorite thing, and I know this is going to sound gross, is the poop. The poop comes out small and hard, easy to pick up. It's the body absorbing everything that it actually is supposed to get, and then, only really the leftovers are coming out. So the poop changes instantly, and everyone always calls in and comes in, they're so happy. Yeah. Their skin, hair, coat, within days, it already looks glossier. They drink a lot less water because they're getting the moisture naturally from the food.
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting.
Which is another issue with kibble because it causes so much dehydration in dogs, which again, snowballs into, affecting the kidneys and bladder, stones, and so on.
Very interesting, because I never would have thought of the water part. And once again, you're educating us. Folks, right now I'd like to let our audience once again know that if you're just tuning in, you're listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Today we're talking about raw eating with the founders of the K-9 shop of Massapequa and Bohemia, Robert and Anya Tucker. Before we go further, folks, someone's hearing this and they're saying, wait a minute, this sounds good. I'd like to know more about it, or at least talk to you about it. Tell us where these shops are and when you're open.
Yeah, so we have one shop in Massapequa. We're open 6 days a week. The only days we're closed is Mondays. Same hours and everything for the store in Bohemia as well. You can also find us on our website. It's got our hours and everything on our website, www.thek9shop.com. That's THEK, the number 9, SHOP.com. And when people come in, any new clients, we immediately sit down, we walk through everything with them, put together a whole meal plan for them, make sure they understand how to feed their dog. So when they walk out, they're going to have a list of how to feed their dog, what to feed their dog, how much to feed their dog, and everything. We put together the entire meal plan and transition for them.
Now, I know when we see the teeth commercials on TV or toothpaste, they always say 9 out of 10 doctors agree that this is the best toothpaste. What do veterinarians think about the raw eating? Is that something they're for, they're against, half and half?
Well, I would say right now it's about half and half. Vets, and we're in no way consider ourselves veterinarians at all. Vets go to vet school and they go to one nutrition class, and that nutrition class is usually run by a kibble company. So they're taught in school, and this is not any fault of theirs. They're taught in school what to feed their animals. More and more veterinarians these days are realizing about the raw and natural feeding, and they're adjusting to it. Some still focus on kibble, but I look at it this way. You go into a veterinarian's office, every bag of kibble they sell, they get a piece of the pie. It's just like doctors and with medications. Every time they write a script for medication, they're getting paid for it. So I don't think it's a fault of the veterinarians at all. I think, the big kibble company has a hand on the food industry. And, just like Big Pharma has a hand on the pharmaceutical companies. And I think that's just where it is right now. I think the world is slowly changing and adjusting to what's right. And I would say kind of waking up a little bit.
Being exposed. If you could talk about pet food maybe for a moment.
Yeah, there was a great documentary that came out called Pet Food that, basically went through.
Say that again. What was the name of it?
Pet Food.
FOOLED?
Yeah, PETFOOLED.
Okay.
It's a great documentary. We know the director, Cole Harrington, and he just basically went on and exposed the whole pet food industry. And, there's some great doctors, Dr. Karen Becker, who's an advocate of that. So, these people are exposing the kibble industry right now, and, it's really, people are waking up and understanding that maybe this isn't right to be feeding their dogs.
And I guess it would never hurt just to try it if they want and see if
Absolutely.
the dog is happier for a couple of weeks. If not, then maybe make your own decisions.
Absolutely.
But you certainly sound like you know what you're talking about. You have the dog's and pet's best interest at heart. And again, it kind of goes back to common sense, like the doctors tell us. If you're eating the salad and natural things with less and less chemicals, and when we open that box and see 42 additives and it stays like a tomato red for 4 months, we know there's something strange going on. So at least we have to ask ourselves that. I mean, we obviously care for the pets. We take them to the vet. We take them for good care. But wouldn't we prefer not to have those teeth pulled, both financially and also for the health and well-being of the pet? If this can do it, certainly makes sense that we should be seeing more K-9 shops than McDonald's pretty soon, and we want to give those pets good care. Does this have any relationship to cancer in pets? Because, again, pets get people diseases now.
Yeah, and you kind of hit the nail on the head right there.
Oh, good. I guess that's a good one. Yeah. All right. Always try to do that.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head when you said what the doctors are telling us right now. To eat more salad, eat more vegetables, stay away from the processed foods, eat healthier, because it helps us keep the cancer rate and everything around. The same goes for dogs. Carbohydrates, that's what cancer feeds off of. So we have many dogs that come in that have cancer, that go on a raw diet, and we have extended their life.
We basically keto them. So again, they're on a keto diet. They are not allowed to have any carbs, and we put together a plan for them in order to keep them on the right track.
But for dogs, that's good. I mean, because that's their health. And like most of us, we probably could do without the cake and the cookies. We want it because it's pleasurable.
Right.
But again, for our pet, it's like taking care of children. You want to do the best for them. They don't know. They would sit there, and and I guess it's happened in houses, if something falls on the floor and it's appealing, whether it's a cake or a pie, or if it tastes good, they're going to eat the whole thing if nobody's around. So, what about... I think we talked about cancer. Are there any foods that dogs should never eat? If people are listening to the show as experts on what to feed your dog, things that just let's not make mistakes in the other direction. Do not give them.
Well, I think onions, what else is on the list? Grapes.
Onions, grapes, raisins.
I'll tell you a couple of myths, though. Garlic. Garlic is fantastic for your dog.
Really?
And people do not know that. In small
I'm learning
amounts,
so much today. I'm going to be so smart.
So smart. It actually, if you feed it continuously and consistently, it can actually ward off ticks and fleas, and just really naturally. Another myth: avocados. The skin is toxic. The pit also not good. But the meat in itself is absolutely very healthy. So a little sliver, if you're eating an avocado, share it with your dog. It's so good for them.
Now I'm going to put myself on the line. You can chop me up if I'm bad, and I kind of think I am listening to what you're talking about. But my dog, before I had to put her down a few months ago, her favorites were, and when I'd come in the house, she would just jump all over the place because she could smell it. French fries, pizza crust, and there was something else that was a fried food like that would fall into that if she smelled it, she had to have part of it, and she wouldn't leave me alone until she had it. And based on the look on your face, I appreciate that, but I probably made some mistakes there. Am I right?
We all have made mistakes, and until you know, you don't know. But yes, all carbohydrates like that are a no-go. The only thing that we are okay with is a small amount of sweet potato, because they are nutritious. But
Really?
Besides that, there is nothing that we think is okay to feed a dog.
And another myth is bones. No steak bones, no chicken bones, nothing like that. Nothing cooked. Everything should be raw. Once you cook it, it begins to splinter. So no steak bones. No steak bones off the table. No chicken bones. A lot of people go out to steak. They want to bring the bones home for their dog. That's a no-no.
No cooked bones. Nothing that's steamed, smoked, or cooked. So all raw bones. Like, let's say you look at a bird can be eaten from head to toe. So chicken feet and beaks and all of that can be eaten, and all the bones inside, but as long as it's raw.
Wow, that again, you've educated me very well. Now, what do you give? I mean, we all like to give the dog a little snack or something and come up to us. What do you have snacks like that, or do you? We have
our shops are full of single ingredient treats that are healthy for the dogs, and that's what we recommend giving for them. Give them to them.
Lamb liver, beef heart. There's cod skins. We have so much.
I think you're going to see my wife at your store any day now.
We have a list, 1,000 items.
Before we wrap up, once again, Robert and Anya, please tell us, where are your locations and where can people find you?
We have one store on Broadway in Massapequa, and we have another store on Lakeland Avenue in Bohemia. We're open 6 days a week. Like I said, you can go to our website, www.thek9shop.com. Our hours are there, and we'd love to see everyone pop in.
And I ask our audience, if you've learned something today, as I have, please pass it around to people. It'll help your pet, whether it's a ferret, a cat, or a dog, and perhaps give a visit to the K-9 shop, and the nice folks here will tell you more that will help your pet be healthy and happy. We want to thank our guests, Robert and Anya Tucker, founders of the K-9 shop in Massapequa and Bohemia, for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for educating me so much on our pets. I'm Bill Horan. We want to thank you for listening to this week's edition of My Hometown.
We'd like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to WHPC@ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.